Listen to it fizz.
Alka-Seltzer for headache.
Alka-Seltzer for acid indigestion.
Alka-Seltzer for cold discomfort.
Alka-Seltzer presents the Quiz Kids.
And children, here's today's first question. Listen carefully. The name of what fish, spelled backward, is the name of a famous general?
Yes, there's the number one puzzler on today's list of brain teasers. See what you folks at home can do with it while the youngsters here in our classroom of the air get ready for roll call. And here they are, the Quiz Kids and the chief quizzer himself, old Grandpa Kelly. Yes, the Kellys have just experienced the thrill of welcoming their first grandchild. Congratulations, Joe.
Thank you, Bob Murphy, and thanks to all of you folks from all of the Kellys. Sure, 'tis mighty proud we are of the little spalpeen. Yes, it's a boy, Joseph III. He wanted to come to school with me this afternoon, but his mother decided against it. Well, now, Quiz Kids, it's time to get busy on these questions. Let's see. Present in class this afternoon, we have Patrick.
I'm Patrick Ormcommon. I'm 11 years old and 7B at the Fort Dearborn School.
David.
I'm David Koska. I'm 11 years old and 1B at the Farragut High School, Chicago.
Joel.
I'm Joel Kupperman. I'm 12 years old and 8th grade in Folsom School.
Lonnie.
I'm Lonnie Lundy. I'm 12 years old and in 8th grade at Lincoln School in Park Ridge, Illinois.
Sorry to report that little Melvin Miles is homesick this afternoon. Nothing serious, however, and we hope he will be back to take his regular place in class next week. Pinch hitting for Melvin is another one of our fine youngsters in the junior department, Pat's little sister, Sheila.
I'm Sheila Claire Cannon. I'm 8 years old and 3rd grade at the Fort Dearborn School.
All right, fine, kids. Now, can you answer your first question from Arthur Kaler of Brooklyn, New York? The name of what fish, spelled backwards, is the name of a famous general? We have 2 hands up, and Patrick's hand was first.
Well, I think that would be Eel, E-E-L, because that's Lee, General Lee.
That's
the
right.
Commander of the Confederate Forces in the
Absolutely
Civil
right,
War.
Patrick. General Robert E. Lee, and I can mark you 100% correct on that one. And for sending in that question, Alka-Seltzer sends Arthur Kaler of Brooklyn, New York, a fine Zenith transoceanic shortwave portable radio, the most outstanding portable on the market today. Now, that's always Alka-Seltzer's reward when the Quiz Kids answer your question correctly. If they miss, Alka-Seltzer sends you a big Zenith radio phonograph combination with the new Cobra tone arm, 2 FM bands, the whole works. And this set is a real beauty, so try your hand at stumping these youngsters. Send your questions to Quiz Kids, Chicago. Now, here is an opera question from Helen Parsons of Dallas, Texas. I will read you a line from an opera, and you are to give me the same line in the language in which the opera was originally written. Here's the first one. Like a wild bird so freely winging. Patrick.
Well, that was in Italian. And that was in the opera Carmen.
Yes?
And that goes, Va sol couture de coye sopran, Lottie Dale, let the sun volat.
Well, now,
singing wasn't so well.
Is that Italian?
Is
that Italian, Patrick?
It's French.
It's French. That's what it is, yes, huh? I thought I recognized it. What were you going to say, Lonnie?
I was going to say that it was French.
Oh, fine. Well, we just have to keep on everybody's tail around here. Now, try this one here. Carved upon my inmost heart. Sheila, did you have any of that one? Lonnie?
Well, that's from Rigoletto, and that's in Italian, but I couldn't say it.
Well, let's see. We have another hand up. Patrick?
Well, that's Carano make el mio cor, fast primo palpitar, l'analisa dell'amor, di Decembre ramentar.
Oh, fine, Patrick, fine. Now, here's a question, a music question from Sylvia Newland of Hutchinson, Kansas. Our organist, Howard Peterson, will play part of a popular song whose title suggests a nice present for someone. You children are to identify the song and give the title of another song which suggests who might like the gift. Now, here's the first one. All right, kids, now what is the name of that selection? Let's have it once more, Howard. All right, Lonnie?
That's my shawl. And almost any girl would like that, so that'd be, you could take almost any one with a girl's name in it, like
Well, give us a time.
Margie or
Margie,
Sweet Lorraine or Eileen or
Fine,
Dinah
fine.
or any of them.
All right, that's just dandy. Now, how about this next one, Howard? Patrick?
Well, that would be Margie or Peggy O'Neill or Rosie O'Grady or My Darling Clementine.
Well, what's
Or,
the name of it?
That is Golden Earrings.
Golden Earrings. That's right. Now, Robert H. Holmes of Battle Creek, Michigan, reminds us that there are many something of the month clubs going on these days. There's the Book of the Month Club, the Candy of the Month Club, Fruit of the Month Club, and now there's a Gadget of the Month Club. And this idea appeals to Mr. Holmes, and he wants you quiz kids to suggest some gadget ideas that might be useful to the Gadget of the Month Club. All right, David, you start it off.
Well, should I describe the...
Oh, yes, tell us about it.
Well, it's an onion cutter. You put the onions on sort of a spindle in the top, and they rotate, and knives peel off the coats. And then the onions are brought down to a adjustable cutter where you can cut them to any different shapes or sizes, dicing them or minced or cutting them into sheets.
Well, that's almost a breathtaking invention, David. Is that something that you just thought up? Have you seen one of those? Or?
No, I thought it up myself to keep the housewife from weeping over the onions.
Oh, yeah. All right. And Lonnie?
Well, I've had a little trouble when I'm composing. I find that when I play some new music that I'm composing, it's kind of hard to get it down on paper. So I'd like to invent a sort of attachment to the piano. So when you hit a note, it'd automatically type it on this attachment. And so once you play the music, you've got it written down.
Well, that's sort of a piano typewriter combination. That's a good idea. Mm-hmm. And Sheila?
I have trouble getting my bicycle up out of the basement, and if there's a long arm that reaches down the basement, then I lock my bike and carry the bike up with me on it and put it on the sidewalk.
I'll say, there is something. Yes, sir. Now, that sounds very good. And, Joe, how about you?
Well, I'd like a gadget to do my homework, but I guess that isn't possible. So I shine my family's shoes every Sunday morning, so I'd like an automatic shoe shiner with the whole works.
Oh, fine. And Patrick?
Well, I'd like to have a robot that I could set it at night, and that in the morning it would pick me up, brush my teeth, wash my face and hands, set me down at the breakfast table, get my books in order, and not wake me up until I was sitting at the breakfast table and ready to eat.
Well, that would be quite a gadget, Patrick. Yes, sir. And now, children, we'll consider this next question after we hear from Bob Murphy.
You've heard me say, friends, that it's mighty smart to keep an extra package of Alka-Seltzer where you work as well as at home. And if you've ever tried to struggle through the day after a too hurried lunch or too much lunch has given you acid indigestion, you know what I mean. Yes, acid indigestion can interfere with your efficiency on the job and make you feel really miserable, too. But say, with Alka-Seltzer handy, you can be back on the sunny side of life in almost no time. Alka-Seltzer is so fast-acting, so easy and pleasant to take. And the way it helps to relieve that upset, jittery feeling in the stomach, the way it acts to reduce gastric hyperacidity in such a hurry, well, it's no wonder so many thousands say there's nothing quite like Alka-Seltzer. Yes, when acid indigestion makes you miserable, remember to be wise and alkalize with Alka-Seltzer. All drugstores carry Alka-Seltzer, and don't forget that extra package in the shop can help a fellow feel tip-top.
Well, let's see what's coming up next. So here's a question from Herbert Wilder, Portland, Oregon. In the 50 years since the Curies discovered radium, how much of the element has been isolated? Would you say the total amount of isolated radium in the world today is 6 pounds, 600 pounds, 6 tons, or 6,000 tons? What would you say? David?
Well, I'd say 6 pounds.
6 pounds is absolutely right, huh? Say, tell me something, David. Why has there been so little isolated?
Well, because there's so little of it in so much of the ore it's found, which is pitchblende, and it's so hard to extract.
That's right. Yeah, there's still radium in the world that exists in its natural state, like you say, in pitchblende, but it takes tons of pitchblende to get just a few grams of radium. Mrs. Dunlar Rose of Evansville, Indiana, points out that no matter how hard one tries not to become angry, people do now and then. But she says she knows of some people in children's stories that became very, very angry, and you kids are to tell why. All right? What made Rumpelstiltskin angry when he visited the princess the last time? Now, I didn't see first hand go up there. Whose hand was up first? Lonnie?
Well, Rumpelstiltskin was made to... Did you say when he saw the prince for the last time?
When he visited the princess.
Well, that's because Rumpelstiltskin had in order to save her baby from going to Rumpelstiltskin, she had to guess the dwarf's name, and she guessed it right, and that made Rumpelstiltskin angry because he couldn't have the princess.
That's right, yes. He was madder than an old white hen, wasn't he? Yes. Mm-hmm. Now, why was the wolf angry when he found out what was inside the churn? Sheila.
Because he could have caught the pig if he knew it was in there, and he got scared and he wanted to catch the pig all the time, and then the pig got him away from him that time.
That's right. The pig had rolled home from the fair in the churn. And the wolf, he didn't like that. Now, what made Dorothy angry when she threw water on the Wicked Witch? Pat?
Well, what made her angry was that the witch had already taken one of her magic shoes,
yes,
and she was going to take the other magic shoe.
Mm-hmm.
And Dorothy liked her magic shoes, and she got so mad that she took a pan of water and threw it on the witch.
That's right. What happened to the witch?
Well, she turned into a lump of dust.
That's right. Yeah, she just melted right away. Now, I'm going to ask Howard Peterson, our organist, to help us again with this music question from Maxine Lewis of Colorado Springs, Colorado. This time, Howard will play songs that suggest a kind of fish, and you children are to tell if the kind suggested would be good to eat. Now, here's number 1. Lonnie?
But stardust and starfish is not especially good to eat.
That's right. They are not edible. No, sir. All right, Howard, let's fish again. Patrick?
That's the sun in the morning and the moon at night.
No. Oh, yes, you're right.
That'd be a sunfish. And I don't think sunfish are good to eat either.
What? Did you say sunfish are not good to eat?
Oh, yeah, they are.
Yes, I should say so. Lonnie?
Well, sunfish I think are good to eat, but they're so small that it's not much use of eating them, I think.
Well, Joe?
Sunfish are some of the largest fish. So there's lots of them, and they taste good. So.
Oh, I don't know. I was thinking of something else.
Well, I think maybe you were, Lonnie.
They're not like most fish that are sort of like strings. They're sort of like shaped like big balls. And they're real big. The
sunfish that I am thinking about is a sort of a pan fish. Isn't that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I... Mm-hmm. Well, now let's see about this next one. Lonnie?
That's hair of gold, eyes of blue.
All right,
so that could be one of two things, a goldfish or a bluegill. A bluegill is good to eat, and goldfish is not.
That's right, absolutely. Right, in both cases, I guess some time ago, years ago, some of the college kids thought that the goldfish were good to eat. Now, here's a fantastic question if I ever heard one, kids. It's from Beulah Bowman from North Hollywood, California. You quiz kids are to follow the description I'm going to read and then end up with the full name of a movie star. Now, you must try and get 2 out of 3 on this one. Listen carefully. a great queen minus the great, plus a jitterbug minus the feline, plus a result of a fire. What movie star? The full name of a movie star, Pat.
That'll be Katharine Hepburn.
Katharine Hepburn. That is absolutely right. Now see if you can get this next one. The opposite of out plus a football field minus a kind of metal and a solid body in the north minus frozen water plus the male of the species. Pat?
That'll be Ingrid Bergman.
Ingrid Bergman is right. Now, see if you can get this third one. A tonsorialist plus A and an upright position minus D plus part of an old-fashioned lamp. What movie star? Lonnie?
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. A tonsorialist plus A and an upright position minus D plus part of an old-fashioned lamp. A movie star. The full name of a movie star. Lonnie?
Barbara Stanwyck.
Barbara Stanwyck is right. By the way, here's some baseball information we know that you're all waiting to hear. The American League pennant race has just ended in a tie between the Cleveland Indians and the Boston Red Sox. That means a playoff will be necessary to select the team to meet the Boston Braves in the World Series. The Red Sox moved up into a tie with the Indians by beating New York 10-5, while Cleveland was losing to Detroit 7-1. Say, here's a question that will give you quiz kids a chance to get even with your old chief quizzer, Kelly. You remember last week I asked the question, to what college might a father send his son if the name of the college suggested the father's business, such as a locksmith might send his son to Yale? You remember that? Well, anyway, I threw in a third part of my own. What college would be would the son of a highway builder attend? And the answer was Tulane. Yeah, I thought that was kind of cute. Now, Lewis Martin, who didn't think it was very cute, of New Orleans, wants you children to make up similar parts of the question and try them on me. Now, you try to think up some, and in the meantime, here's Bob Murphy.
Yes, while your pupils are thinking that one over, Joe, I'd like to pose this question for my class. What brings on the discomfort of a headache?
Well, I found that bad ventilation can cause my head to feel dull and achy, Mr. Murphy. I work in a store, and sometimes when the crowd's big, the air gets stuffy, and, well, often by the time the day's over, my head is splitty.
My boss can give me a headache, Mr. Murphy.
Hey, now, wait a minute.
Sure he can. When he comes in with a million things on his mind and wants them all carried out at once, I get tense and nervous trying to keep up with him. And I often wind up the day with my head throbbing. And my wife can give me a headache, too.
Maybe we should skip that kind of a headache.
No, here's what I mean. On those days when the little woman decides that the garage has to be cleaned out, or the yard has to be raked and the leaves burned, or the basement needs a good going over.
I know. You sometimes have a headache from just plain old fatigue.
You bet I do.
Well, there we have some of the things that cause headache pain. Now, what about relief?
There's nothing quite like Alka-Seltzer.
Yes, that's what thousands say, friends. And you can prove this statement to your own satisfaction next time you have a headache. You'll be amazed how soon Alka-Seltzer makes you feel better. So remember, when headache causes grief, misery can be brief. Take Alka-Seltzer for relief.
Well, kids, have you thought up any extra parts on that college question to try on the old chief quizzer? I guess you have. I have 4 hands up. David?
The son of a nobleman.
Let's see, the son of a nobleman. Would it be Oxford?
No, it would be Duke.
Oh, you really got me on that one, did you, huh? And Lonnie?
Well, I'd like 2 answers on this one.
Oh, dear, I can't even give one. All right, go ahead.
The son of a member of the royal family.
The son of a member of the royal family. Could I use Duke?
No.
I can't, huh? All right.
Well, all right, you can use Duke, but then I'd like 3 answers.
Oh, no. I refuse to use Duke. No, sir. You're going to have to tell me that one, Lonnie.
Well, it could be either Princeton or Kings Point.
Well, how do you like that? I know both of them well, too. Joel?
Well, the conductor of a Los Angeles sightseeing tour.
Sightseeing tour.
Yeah.
UCLA?
That's right, UCLA.
How do you like that? I got one! Oh! Open up the door so I can throw my chest out. What do you know about that? Patrick?
Well, a writer.
A writer?
A writer.
A writer?
Yes.
Any kind of a writer?
Any kind of a writer.
A writer. Pennsylvania?
That's right.
Oh, no!
And the son of a peach grower.
The son of a peach grower. Let's see. I give up on that one.
A pit.
Peach pit. I get it. Well, those are all good. Well, that was a lot of fun. Certainly was. Now, here we go with more questions. Mrs. Mary Dayton of Oakland, California, has worked out a clever question that combines history, science, and poetry. The atomic numbers of the following elements should remind you children of lines of poetry, and a little knowledge of history will come in handy. The first line of what poem is suggested by the atomic numbers of silicon and uranium? Patrick?
Well, the atomic number of uranium is 92.
92 is right.
And silicon is number 14.
14, so...
1492, and that would be Columbus.
Yes, and?
And
all right.
A poem about Columbus.
The poem, Lonnie.
Oh, there's one by Joaquin Miller. Behind him lay the gray Azores, behind the gates of Hercules, before him. Oh, I don't know, but that's the first line.
Well, the poem that Mrs. Dayton had in mind mentions the dates.
In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean.
That's the one. That's the idea. Uh-huh. Now, in the first stanza of this poem, the atomic number of argon suggests a day of the month, and the atomic number of rhenium suggests the year. So, Patrick?
Well, argon is number 18.
Right.
And what was the other one?
Rhenium.
Rhenium?
Uh-huh.
Is number 73, I think.
No.
Wait, it's 75.
75 is right.
So that'll be 18.
18.
75.
75. And the poem?
The 18th day of the 75. Oh, the 18th of April, so that'll be Paul Revere's Ride.
Well, how's it go now?
Well, listen, my children, and you shall hear the midnight ride of Paul Revere. It was the 18th of April in 75. Hardly a man is now alive that remembers that famous day and year.
That's very, very good, Patrick. Very good. Well, let's try this question from Minnie Mae Harper of San Diego, California. Can you rearrange the letters in the following words so they spell out the name of a game? This ought to be a lot of fun, too. Try to get 2 out of 3 parts. Oh, no, dimes. What game? Rearrange the letters. Oh, no, dimes. No coaching from the audience, please. It's an old game. Lonnie?
Dominoes.
Dominoes, that's it, uh-huh. And see about the next one here. On my polo. What game? Joel?
Football?
No. Patrick?
That'll be Monopoly.
Monopoly, that's right, huh? And the third part, mild ado. Mild ado. What game? Mild, A-D-O. Mild ado. What game? Of course, you've given me 2 out of 3. I'd like to see you kids get the third one, but you give up? You sure? Old maid. Yeah. All right. Mrs. Dora Barnes Turner, who lives in Birmingham, Alabama, says that last summer she chose one of the following places to spend her vacation: the Black Hills, the Green Mountains, the Redwoods, and the Bluegrass Country. She finally went to a place that was nearest her home. Where did she go? Joe?
Could you repeat the question?
Well, I'm afraid I'm apt to. Well, maybe not. All right. She chose one of the following places to spend her vacation, and she lives in Birmingham, Alabama. The Black Hills, the Green Mountains, the Redwoods, and the Bluegrass Country. So she finally went to the place that was nearest her home. Where did she go? Joe?
The Bluegrass Country, because that's Kentucky.
And Kentucky is nearer to Alabama than the other spots. That's right, huh? Ray B. Merriam of Olean, New York, thinks that popular novels by the following authors suggest baseball teams. So suppose these men were baseball managers. What teams would they select? James Fenimore Cooper. Lonnie.
Well, the spy, that could be the coach who looks at the other teams, tries to steal the signals from other teams.
Yeah, that's all right. And, Joel?
Well, all his books were about Indians, so he'd coach the Cleveland Indians, or maybe even the Boston Braves.
Yeah, the Boston Braves, sure, And how about Robert Louis Stevenson?
That would be Treasure Island, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Pittsburgh Pirates,
Pirates
right.
are in that.
And Mark Twain. Mark Twain. Lonnie.
Well, he would be the manager of the Phillies, Eddie Sawyer, and Mark Twain wrote a book, Tom Sawyer, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, so you could make him the manager of the Phillies in place of Eddie Sawyer.
Yes, that's true. And, of course, Joel?
Well, he wrote a Connecticut, a Yankee in King Arthur's court, so he'd manage the Yankees.
The New York Yankees, And Lonnie?
He also wrote Life on the Mississippi, and the only city on the Mississippi is St. Louis, so he could manage either the Browns or the Cardinals.
That's right, Now, here's a discussion question from Margaret Russell of St. Louis, Missouri, and she would like to know what subjects you might like to have taught in school that you do not have now. Pat?
Well, they might have an executive course for people who would like to go into the political business, politics.
All right, fine. And Joel?
They should have a sort of debate course for people who would like to be politicians, as Pat said, or lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sheila?
Poems in school down on the second floor and first floor.
Well, now, those were all very good. Well, anyway, children, we'll fire this next question right at the judges who won today's Battle of Brains. We'll give the judges a minute with paper and pencil, and while we're waiting, here's an important message about one-a-day brand vitamin.
Don't take chances. Are you sure you are getting all the essential vitamins you need from the food you eat? Remember this. Government surveys show that the meals of 3 out of 4 persons are short on vitamins. Don't take chances. Instead, take one-a-day brand multiple vitamins. Lack of vitamins in your food can cause you to feel under par and run down. So take one-a-day brand multiple vitamins. 60 capsules, 2 months supply, only $2 at any drugstore. Potency guaranteed by Miles Laboratories. Lack of vitamins in your food can keep you from feeling your best and looking your best. You can't afford to take chances. Take one-a-day brand multiple vitamin capsules.
Well, here's the verdict you've been waiting to hear, Quiz Kids. Remember, though, whether you win or lose, Alka-Seltzer will give each of you a $100 security bond to help you with your future education. Now then, according to our present system of scoring, which takes into consideration your age as well as the number of correct answers you give, the judges say that as a class, you didn't miss any questions at all. Pat was first, Lonnie second, and Joel third. So we'll see you 3 back at your desks next week, and you'll be here to compete with Melvin Miles, age 5, and Rennie Templeton, age 13. We hope all you folks listening will plan to be with us, too, next week. And now until next Sunday, this is Joe Kelly dismissing the Quiz Kids. Goodbye, kids.
Bye, Mr. Kelly.
Listen to the Quiz Kids every week and listen to Alka-Seltzer's News of the World every Monday through Friday on most of these NBC stations. This is Bob Murphy speaking. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.